some of the co-hosts of the user group who will be helping me out tonight. Most important thing you can do right now, though, is open up your browser, head over to myquiz.org and put in the code 596426. That will take you to our quiz page where you'll be able to follow along and watch the whole quiz happening and answer all the questions, because that's what you need to do. It's all going to be on there. So we'll get that started in a little bit. But before we get to that point, and to give people some time to join, we're going to talk about a little bit of structure and a little bit of what we're going to do tonight. So tonight we have 115 questions around the geekiest things I could come up with. Says we signing into my quiz, you should not need to, it will ask you to sign in. All you need to do is put in your name, unless you decide to use a Google or a Facebook or something like that. You should not actually need to create accounts for this. But do shout if you see them a requirement to create an account. When we were testing it out yesterday, we weren't having to create accounts. And there is about 15 people now on it. So we're getting close to getting everyone into that. So as I was saying, we have 115 brand new questions. In previous years, I have been accused of taking previous questions and reusing them. And tonight, I have decided to do away with that. There is not one repeated question from a previous year in this craziness. We've got 6 initial rounds. Each round is has 15 questions in them. We'll start with gaming, which will include all spectrums of gaming, move into media, so movies, TVs, YouTube. So if you have an 11-year-old available, probably bring them in for the gaming and YouTube sections. We'll then move on to history and geography, which means if you have an old grandfather, bring them in, because they're going to be definitely bring in your history and your geography geeks there. We'll move on to books and comics. And obviously being a developer focus group, we've got some dev stuff. So we'll go into programming, languages and tools. Then we'll hit tech companies, so you can show off your love for your favorite companies. And finally, we'll end off with a grand 25 question round on random, crazy general knowledge. One of the questions from the chat, will there be teams again? There is no, teams are optional. You can play solo, or if you want to quickly spin up a call on WhatsApp with your friends and set up your own team, that is totally up to you. But we are really focused on all the prizes are going to be solo prizes anyway. So if you want to set up your own team quickly on the chat here or over WhatsApp or something, go right ahead. We'll never know. So, points. These are all going to be multiple choice. You won't have to type anything in. There's no spelling or problems or anything like that. Many of these multiple choice questions will have more than one right answer, which is quite cool. So if you get everything correct, you get 5 points for each correct answer. If you pick the wrong, any of the wrong answers in a multiple choice, all your correct answers only become worth 1 point. And to help encourage people not to live in Google tonight, there is a speed bonus. So the first person to answer gets 3 points, second gets 2 points, and third gets a bonus point. So maybe just give you a little bit more clarity on that. Imagine we had a simple thing here, like this question called example with 4 answers in it. If only one of these was correct and you answered it, this question itself would be worth 5 points plus the bonus. If you get all 3 correct, let's say there are 3 correct answers. If you get all 3, it's worth 15 points plus the bonus. If you were to select a 4 because you're sneaky and clever that way and are trying to optimize for speed, you would only get 3 points because, the 3 correct answers, and the 4th incorrect one would invalidate, it would lower the points, but you would get a speed bonus. So maybe your plan is just rush all of them and answer that, and hopefully that wins you 6 points for a round. I don't know. That said, if you select 1 correct answer out of the possible 3 correct in this example, you would get 5 points plus your speed bonus. So it's always best to get the right answers, which is great. So that's how the quiz questions are going to go, how the points are going to go. There we'll end up with hundreds of points, hopefully does that. Does the speed bonus apply even if you get some answers wrong? No, the speed bonus only applies if you get at least 1 answer correct. If you somehow selected the incorrect answer, the speed bonus doesn't apply. If you selected all 4, you definitely got one of the correct ones, so your speed bonus would apply. But that is a very surefire way to lose out on points. Best case there, you've got 6 points, where somebody else who took their time, didn't even get a speed bonus, comes out at 15. So definitely bonus points for not Googling, but getting the answers right is more important. Right. Prizes for tonight, because that's why we're all here. You don't get however many people in a user group nowadays, 30, 40 people, wow, without some prizes. And so tonight, our first prize is a Samsung 28-inch UHD 4K monitor. The second place prize will be a Parrot AR Drone 2.0. And the third place prize is a Kinect Illuminate Series CP101 projector. If you want, those are the prizes that will go out to the first, second, third in order. If you're playing in a team, how you timeshare that is up to you. But beyond that, we are going to have multiple bonus question rounds. The idea on the bonus rounds is to give you some opportunities to even get stuff without having to answer the questions. So we've got a bunch of those prizes. We'll talk about them later. Yes, Rory, it is powered by Azure. Microsoft has not paid me to use their tech for this. But I'm glad it makes you happy, Rory. So awesome. Just a couple things. Prizes will be shipped to you, so you don't have to collect them. Shipping's obviously included in that. It's only open to people in South Africa. So if you do win and you're not in South Africa, you are donating your prize to me, is what's happening. If something happens between now and tomorrow and the prize is no longer available for whatever reason, we will work with you to find a financially equivalent prize that makes sense. No, Josh, if somebody outside South Africa wins, they ship to me, not you. That's the power of the festive Christmas hat. I get to make up weird rules. The developer user group would not be possible without sponsors. This year, we've had Intellect sponsoring us through quite a turbulent year. They've helped us not only with venues at the start of the year, but they're also helping us all the time with providing the professional Zoom license we use for the session. And they also they've provided tonight the main #1 prize. So that fancy UHD 4K screen is sponsored by Intellect. Big thank you to them. Really couldn't run the group and run these events without them. So if you do know someone there, give them a shout and say thank you from all of us here. Okay, so how can you prepare for the random prize events? They're going to come up randomly, so I can't tell you what to do. That would ruin it completely, right? But there are some things you can do to get ready to give yourself a bit of a chance. And they are optional, right? If you don't take part or you can't take part, that's okay. You can just leave it and pick it up later on and just carry on the quiz or pick up the next one. So some things that you could do, be in the chat. So in the chat that we're all on, that I can see here, if you're in there, we're going to have some stuff you can post into there. We are going to ask you to draw something. We've got something I'll ask you to take a photo of, things like that. So make sure if you want, you've got something available for that. Get a browser ready to upload those onto things. Yes, this chat where Josh is being a nuisance is the right place. So have that there. Have some things you think might be useful, around. But they are totally optional. And my fantastic set of elves will be helping me with all of that tonight. And we will be giving away all those prizes, announcing winners for those prizes right at the end as well. So you've got to stay around to win. Okay. So let's start with a random prize drawing to keep everyone on their toes. I'm sure I edited this slide. But anyway, what you need to do, draw a picture of the prize you most want. I'll bring up the prizes again in a moment. And then go to our meetup page. Hopefully that's where everyone knows us from. And you have until 7 p.m. to upload it to the meetup page. At 7 p.m., our fantastic elves will go and scour the page for the best picture. And we will announce the winner for the random drawing. And so what are the prizes? To remind you, we've got the 4K monitor. We have the sponsored by Intellect. We have the AR drone from Parrot. We have the fancy projector. We also have the Xiaomi Mi TV box, media center box. a Google Chromecast, a Raspberry Pi kit, Sennheiser Bluetooth headphones, Cooler Master mechanical gaming keyboards, a Ace WS Alpha to Ace Robot DIY kit, and a JBL Flip 5 Bluetooth speaker. So think about which one you want the most and start drawing that. And you have, 48 minutes to get along with that. Right. Let's go back. Random prize moments. That's what we wanted. Random drawing. Cool. So just a reminder, I'm going to bring up this slide because it's got in the back. If you are joining now, to join the game, you need to go to myquiz.org and put in the code 596428. And we've got 45 people on the Zoom. We've got 42 people in the quiz. So we'll give everyone another minute or two to get ready, and then we'll kick off. Hopefully everyone's having a really good evening. It is boiling where I am. I am in my study in Cape Town with the curtains closed, wearing a shirt in summer like an idiot. That's a great question, Kahisa. Let me paste it. I'll put it in the chat. Why not? myquiz.org is the website, and the code you need is 596426. Oh, 30 degrees in Kempton Park. Yeah. Oh, that sounds horrendous. That is horrible. Josh, yeah, none of the Santa suits have survived long enough. They've all disintegrated. Though I wouldn't say no to a disintegrating suit to try and help me cool down. Awesome. I'm glad your video is off, Yaku. Very much. 30-degree weather sounds crazy. Yes. All right. I think we are ready to kick this off. Probably there are 44 people on the thing, and there are like 40 something of us, and I'm not in the competition, so that's fine. So we'll kick this off, and I will move over to the quiz. And hopefully you can see the quiz. Ooh, it's all big on my screen. There we go. I'm cut off behind it. Right, so you have 10 seconds to answer your first question. What is the name of the final course in all of the Mario Kart video games? Awesome, all the people who selected Rainbow Road. And we can see our top leaderboard there. Asadai 101 leading. Awesome. So well done, 33% of you. Move on to the next one. This was supplied by Fangle on Twitter. What is the name of the latest the latest building added to the web game Cookie Clicker? And this came out because we asked for things online. And yeah, there we go. Something called the Idleverse. If you've never played Cookie Clicker, it's a great way to lose hours and hours of your life. Cool. So Jared is catching up there, tied into first place. Question 3. V-Bucks are the in-game currency for which video game? I know my 11-year-old knows the answer. Sure, he's shouting it out. Nobody thought FIFA. That is amazing. I thought I was quite clever there. Oh, look at this. There is Gamer's Delight here. Well done, everybody. Oh, and Asadai is staying in the lead a little bit here. Very close to solve with. Next question. Who is on the cover of FIFA 20? And yeah. Answers coming in. Oh, this was a sneaky one. There were 3 right answers because there are 3 different editions of FIFA 20. So whoever got all 3, Asadai is there. I'm not jumping up too far. I think most people only got 1 or 2 points. Question 5. Which of these games happen in the same universe? While I check the chat. It is both Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed. There are references to the company that you have to play the boring part of Assassin's Creed in the Watch Dog games, of all weird things. So these 2 games happen in the same universe. And Griff, my old friend, is in the lead. That is fantastic. Question 6. Which of these video games is not a movie? This was a sneaky one. I think it's a tough one because there are multiple of them. Right, yeah, there we go. So the non-movie games, God of War, Quake, and Dark Souls, Silent Hill and Hitman both have a movie. I can't imagine they're very good. So congrats to everyone for getting those right. Question 7, with Justin in the lead. Which of these video games is also a board game? And I'm not counting branded board games, branded versions of Monopoly and things like that. Yep, the only one that was wrong there was No Man's Sky. Every other one of these has been made into probably quite a terrible board game. And Justin stays in the lead. Griff right behind. Asadai is dropping down. You got to catch up, buddy. All right. In Minecraft, what are the ingredients for a cake? So there are definitely a few on. You need more than one thing here. And it's everything except cocoa to make a cake. You need milk, eggs, sugar, wheat. I think you need 1 egg, 3 sugar, 3 milk, and 2 wheat, if I remember correctly. Whoa, lots of people changes on the scores there. Lots of people love Minecraft. Which of these classes were in the original Dungeons and Dragons red box? Was it the fighter, the ranger, the halfling, the wizard, or the magic user? It was the fighter, the halfling, and the magic user. Weirdly, it wasn't called the wizard. I don't know why, but I'm glad they fixed this up at a later stage. And yeah, so, and halflings are not a class, but it was in the original box. So that was interesting. My favorite D&D adventure on YouTube is a thing called Oxventure. It's made up of 3 channels. Who are the 3 people in that channel? That was a very long one, that one. Didn't get a lot of answers there. Yeah, so the channels that make up the cost of Oxventure are the Outside Xbox, Dicebreaker, and Outside Extra people. And if you've never watched Oxventure, that's what you gotta do this Christmas. It's fantastic. Which of these are actual role-playing game systems? GURPS, Special, OGL, D&D, and D20. Wow, 10 seconds is not a long time to search for the answers if you're on Google. That is right. So GURPS, Special, and D20 are things. D&D is not. The D&D system is actually called D20 because of the D20 dice. And OGL is something I completely made up. So to the 14% I tricked, yay! Right. Which of these 5 are board games? Quicks, Quantum Flux, Quarriors, Quarterback Touchdown, and the Quacks of Quedlinburg. All with Qs, because I like the idea of board games with the letters in Q. So the games are Quarriors, Quacks of Quedlinburg, and Quicks. And of those, I only own Quarriors, which is quite a depressing sight. Since I have 100 board games, I only have 1 with the letter Q. On to the 13th question. Which of these games are related? Keyflower, Terra Mystica, Jaws of the Lion, Frosthaven, and Gloomhaven. These are all board games. Right, and it's Frosthaven, Gloomhaven, and Jaws of the Lion. They're all part of the same set of board games. And we're moving on to the next question. Almost finished the gaming. Which of these are real Monopoly versions? Bass Fishing Monopoly, Top Gear Monopoly, Pirates of the Caribbean Monopoly, Golf Signature Holes Monopoly, and the Alan Turing Monopoly. The only one it isn't is the Top Gear Monopoly, weirdly. There is a Golf Signature Holes Monopoly. I don't understand why, but I'm pretty sure it came out this year. Bass Fishing Monopoly, for those who like virtual fishing as well, is a thing. And for the final one, Scarlet, Reverend Red, Colonel Mustard, Professor. Ooh. And I had a blip on. Anyone in the chat?
Still hear you, Robert. You were
cool.
Cutting out for a second there.
Awesome. I have my internet seemed to blip for a second. I don't even on the quiz. I'm going to refresh my page. See if I can get it back. I don't know how you can hear me, but I cannot. That is not good because the quiz will continue even if I am not here.
Yeah, so the quiz is on question 17.
Okay. Well, you miss out my fancy commentary while I get it back up. Whoa. If the video is a bit stuttery, you can always just open up the browser in your own tab. Where are we? Question 18, onto the media section. The 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, who has not worked directly with Kevin Bacon. Oh, and the music suddenly has come back very loud. Let's pause it there to fix up, now that I can fix up what's going on here. And who has not worked with him? Ah, there we go. Right, so the people who has not worked with Kevin Bacon, Morgan Freeman and Ian McKellen. And now, if I can try to get my screen up here, we can jump across to the next random question. So sorry for the weirdness of the thing there. Right, so the next random question, what we want to see is your battle stations, the space where you work, how cool it is, or game, or wherever that is. So go grab a photo of that quickly. Maybe you're sitting at it now, maybe you're not. And add it to our meetup page as well. And once again, same as with the drawing, the winner will be it'll be selected at 7 p.m. We'll announce the winner at the end of the night. So if you've got a nice picture of your fancy desk setup, your fancy chair, keyboards, mice, get that onto the site. We'll give you a moment to do that and have a quick. Yes, game is paused because we are giving everyone time to go have a look at the random battle station. I do like how my video is on top of the letter S so perfectly. That is great. All right. We'll have a couple more random sections coming up just now. So that is fine. Rowan says she doesn't work at a desk. That is perfectly okay as well. Don't need to work at a desk to win a prize. You can post a picture of your art area, or just skip this one. So let's move on to the next question. So we'll have our next question in a few seconds. But yeah, and so remember, so that's the first section. We're now on to media. So it's movies, YouTube, and TV shows. Who has played the lead actress in the movie A Star Is Born? There are 3 different versions of this movie to give you a clue. So there will be 3 different actresses. So there's the Jane Gaynor one, the Julie Garden one, and the latest one with Lady Gaga. Once again, if you haven't seen A Star Is Born, totally great movie to watch. Maybe not over Christmas. It's maybe not the most Christmas vibes, but it's a great movie. Bring tissues. Which of these were code names for the original Star Wars movies? The Force, Adventures of Starkiller, Toy House, Jar Jar's Great Adventure, or Blue Harvest? And the right answers are Blue Harvest, Jar Jar's Great Adventures, and The Adventures of Starkiller. Blue Harvest was the original Star Wars film. Jar Jar's Great Adventure was episode 5, weirdly. And I can't remember, I think Adventures of Starkiller was also one of the original names for it. Keeping to our long-held love of Big Bang Theory here, which of these are characters from the Big Bang Theory show? And hopefully all our Bazinga friends will get this right. Right, most of you got it completely right, except for the sneaky one where I changed somebody's middle name. So yeah. Moving on to our next one. Which of these are characters from The Mandalorian? So we've got Darth Vader, IG-11, the Armorer, R2-D2, and Baby Yoda. Oh, a lot of people picking Baby Yoda, but that's not his name. He actually has a proper name now, and before that he was the child. Baby Yoda is what everyone calls him, and Disney tells us no, so that's why that's not correct. IG-11 and the Armorer are both in The Mandalorian, though. Which of these TV broadcasts had over 3 billion viewers? And leading the competition at the moment is Ross, followed closely by Rian, Justin, and Asadai. So yeah, all the sporting events have had over 3 billion viewers, including our own FIFA World Cup in 2010, which is quite fantastic. Nobody cares really about the Royals until The Crown, I guess. Which of these TV shows had a cost of over $10 million per episode, including fees for actors and things like that? So it's The Crown and something called The Get Down. I am not cool enough to know what that is. It's something on Netflix, but the internet lists of how much episodes cost has it on there. And nobody got that because everyone thought I'd made it up, but it's a real thing. Which of these scripted US prime television series have over 500 episodes? Just to scare you, can you imagine having 500 episodes? It's The Simpsons and Lassie. Nothing else. Grey's Anatomy feels like 500, but it's only about 8, I think. Actually, I think they're now like the longest running TV show after Law and Order with actors. Which of these YouTube videos have over 4 billion views? Now, I did this about a week ago, so hopefully it hasn't changed too much. And yes, that is Baby Shark, just to put it back in everybody's mind, because you can't get through this year without it. So yeah, everything except Gangnam Style. It was the first to reach 1 billion views on YouTube, but every single one of them has since long passed it. With Despacito, I think is currently the #1. On TikTok, who earns over $40,000 per post? I am totally not cool enough to know who any of these people are. So I'm not even going to try to say names. Yes, those are the 2 people who earn reportedly over $40,000 per post on TikTok. I would love that job. If you want to pay me $40,000 to post nonsense on TikTok, I will gladly do it. No questions asked. I will post whatever. Who of these people has the most followers on Twitter? Obviously, there's only one right answer here. It's Barack Obama. They have the most followers on Twitter of everyone. I was quite shocked at that one as well. I would have thought Justin Bieber or Rihanna personally. But no, it's actually Barack Obama, the most Twitter followers. Which South African YouTubers have over 1 million subscribers? Is it people like Dean Voort, the SABC News, ENCA? And the answers are the SABC News, Dean Voort, and something called Six Pack Factory by Peter Carvel. If you look at me, you know that I am not a follower of that channel, but I'm pretty sure somebody like Rory is. So maybe Rory will post in the chat what's that. And come the last question for this section. What is the most disliked video on YouTube? So the downvotes on YouTube. Give her a chance. And it's the YouTube Rewind from 2018. It's the most downvoted video of all time. So we'll pause the questions there and have a look at the chat. Some of the questions. Yeah, okay, so Lassie definitely has more than 500 episodes. Long time ago. Some people commenting on how long it feels with Grey's Anatomy. Joshua, I don't actually know what TikTok is. That question was supplied to me by other people I know who are far cooler than I am. Told me to talk about the TikToks. And Joshua Lewis says he doesn't have a 6-pack, he has a whole keg. Cool. So now we've reached the end of the media section. Before we get into history and geography, let's do what we're famous for in this. Bazingas. Normally what we do is have you put up your hand and yell Bazinga. We can't do that tonight, obviously. But if you are the first to tweet Bazinga to our Twitter handle, that will win you the prize. So this is how we at least try to keep some of our weird traditions there. Awesome. So give you another second for that. What if you don't have a Twitter? Then you can't win this prize. But you could sign up for Twitter really quickly because we might use it again in the next little while. Though I wouldn't sign up to Twitter just for a competition like this. But yeah, we're trying to give you some opportunities to show off your geekiness with these. And Twitter's kind of a geeky place. Right. So let's switch back to the questions. And we'll move on to our history and geography section, which is a whole new section we've never had in the quiz before. We've had media and gaming, obviously. History and geography, really going to stress, make you feel a bit like you're back in school. So first one, which of these cities have a replica of the Eiffel Tower or the actual Eiffel Tower? None of them have the actual Eiffel Tower, obviously, but which ones have the replicas? And it's everyone except for Nairobi, Kenya. So plenty of places have replicas of the Eiffel Tower. Most of these places I've never heard of. I like the idea that France has one in Paris and in Lyon because they needed two, obviously. The Republic was an independent nation. The Republic of Benin was an independent nation for how long? 7 hours, days, weeks, months, or 7 years? It was 7 hours. Weird geopolitics, right? They formed as a country, and then they were no longer a country. They were sucked into something bigger. Right, in the USA, there is a place where due to a weird loophole, you can get away with any crime, including murder. What is that place called? And every one of these is a real place. None of these are made up names. It is the Zone of Death. There is a real place in America called the Zone of Death, just inside Yellowstone National Park. And because of a weird loophole, you can commit any crime there and no one can do anything about it. But there are places called cut and shoot as well. How small is the smallest house in Great Britain? About 5.5 meters squared, all the way up to about 25.5 meters squared. It's really tiny, 5.5 meters squared. Basically big enough just to stand in. It's still available today if you'd like to go and spend some time there. Though I can't imagine spending this year in that house would have been a fun experience. How far away is the Western Cape Ward 115 from the city center of Cape Town? So is it the city center? Is it 10 Ks, 250 Ks, 1,000 Ks, or 1,750 Ks? It's 1,750 kilometers from the center of Cape Town because it's an island off the coast that is inhabited by like 5 people. And you can book passage there if you are one of these 5 scientist people allowed there a year. The New York newspaper, The Sun, published 6 articles about the discovery of life on the moon by a South African. What did they say was found? Bison, unicorns, and man-bats. And then bacteria and mice were not found. This was obviously a massive hoax portrayed by the newspaper, who got tricked into writing the article when somebody submitted them a whole bunch of stuff. Apollo 17 was the last flight to the moon. What was the name of the mice who flew on it? There was more than one mouse, so that's mice. And this makes them the last rodents, animals to go to the moon. So it was Fifa and Fo were the 3 mice that were on that flight. It is quite crazy that we haven't been back to the moon since then with living creatures, human or mice. The 1904 Summer Olympic men's marathon is famous for multiple weird events happening. Which of these happened at the event? I'm going to pause that in the question. Give you a moment to read it up because there are long ones here. Give you a second. Multiple of these happened. Yep, the person who came fourth actually got ill from eating rotten eggs. Rotten apples. They stole en route of the race, and the winner was carried over the line by his team. The third one, the policeman who snuck in the start of the race and ran the event, actually wasn't a policeman. There was a postman who did it. Weird event. Great for weird trivia. Centralia, Pennsylvania is famous because one of these things. It's also a great name, Centralia in Pennsylvania. It has been on fire since 1962. It sits on a bed of like, I think it's anthracite or type of coal, and it's just been on fire there. And there's only like 4 people who live there now. But yeah, it's been burning since 1962. Where is the original London Bridge today? I learned this one when I went to London last year. So you can get an idea of what it is. It's currently over Lake Hasavu in Arizona. An American decided he wanted to buy London Bridge put in an order, and the city sold it to him. He thought he was buying Tower Bridge, the famous one that we all think of. So they built it and moved it to there. Monowai is a village in Nebraska, which has a bar, a library, and exactly one person there. Is that true or false? It is true. There's one person who lives in the town of Monowai in Nebraska. She runs the bar and the library. The library is dedicated to her late husband. And it must be crazy to live in a town with just one person. Pablo, let me pause this one, give everyone a chance to read the question. Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar had an estate, and after his estate was seized, they found 4 unique animals. And they created a documentary about these 4 unique animals. What was the documentary called? Was it Tiger King, Cocaine Hippos, the mind-reading octopuses of Pablo Escobar, the Lion King, or drug zebras? It was Cocaine Hippos. He had 4 hippos in his place. I haven't watched the documentary. I don't believe they were actually taking cocaine. I think he just had hippos. But that means now that Colombia has a hippo problem because they did escape. So you could get attacked by hippo. Null Island is the name of an island at 00. It is not true. There is no island at 00. That would be way too cool for our planet. No. Some people helping me out here. It's either Prince Edward Island or Marion Island is the island off the coast of Cape Town, which is Ward 115. King Charles VI of France suffered from this psychiatric order. He thought he was made of glass. So people couldn't touch him, and he thought he was going to break at any point. And it's a total real thing, and it still happens to this day to some people. Quite a crazy thought. And lastly, for this section, which of these is not a real flood which happened? The New York apple flood, the Pepsi fruit juice flood, the Boston Great Molasses flood, the London beer flood, or the Bloemfontein brandy flood? The 2 ones that didn't happen is the New York apple flood and the Bloemfontein brandy flood. There was a Pepsi fruit juice flood in Russia. There was the Boston Great Molasses flood and the London beer flood, which honestly, after you spend some time in London, you can totally figure out why that London beer flood happened. Right. So that brings us to the end of our history and geography. Hopefully nobody's got flashbacks to high school. Everyone's still doing well. We're going to move into comics and comics and books next. But we're going to have another random thing. So if you do have a Stack Overflow account, go to your Stack Overflow account, find out how many points you've got on Stack Overflow, and post it in the chat. The winner will be selected in about 35 minutes for the person who has it. If you don't have a Stack Overflow account, you've never posted, you can, 0 is probably not a winning score. And we'll announce the winner at the end of the night. Some of the comments while we give people time to post pictures and things like that. Info, give me a correction on there's almost 20 people who go to the island off the coast of South Africa. Thank you for that. Centralia, the city in Pennsylvania that's been on fire since 1962, is an inspiration for Silent Hill, because one of the things is the fires, because they're underground, all the smoke comes up through the ground and makes the ground very unstable. And so Rion Nell is exactly right. It is an inspiration for that film, or for the games. And it's also why nobody lives there anymore, because the ground's so unstable. Brandon asking, he's not sure where to post the picture of his cool rig. Post that to our meetup page, meetup.com/developerug. Cool. So people posting. So upload your pictures. Marie's put a link there to the exact one. Put them into there. Currently, Neil Devet winning with the points 5,810. That is impressive number of Stack Overflow points. Cool. And we will get into our next section. Right. Let's switch back across to our quiz. All right, everyone, and we'll kick off again. A couple of seconds once the next question timer moves along. And we'll be looking at comics and books now. So Gatsby is a 50,000 word novel which does not contain the letter E, the word the, any words shorter than 5, any words longer than 5 letters, or the letter O. Gatsby is a 50,000 word novel which does not contain the letter E. It is fantastically funny to try and see how all the loopholes they had to do to use words that don't have the letter E in them. The Wikipedia page for that has a lot of it on there. Fart Proudly is an essay written by J.R.R. Tolkien, Albert Einstein, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, or Donald Trump. It's a true thing, and I've never had to say fart in a user group meeting, but it was by Benjamin Franklin. It is the least offensive of some of his horrendously offensive titles. He has some crazy essays. Here's one about giving sex advice to other people. Weird. Right. The Manga Guide is a series of books to help teach geek subjects. Which of these are real manga guides? Manga Guide to Databases, Calculus, Cryptocurrencies, Rust, or Relativity? And so database, calculus, and relativity are the correct answers. There's no manga guide to cryptocurrencies and Rust yet, but if you feel like you want to help, I'm sure they would love you to help them create a guide for that. Cool. In George Orwell's Animal Farm, what was the name of the pig leader? Squealer, Boxer, Snowball, Napoleon, or Old Major? It was Napoleon. All of the other ones were real pigs, but they weren't the leaders of the farm. Okay. In Frank L. Baum's original 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, what color were Dorothy's shoes in the original novel? They were ruby in the movies, but they were silver in the book. These sort of tricky questions just to mess with everyone's scoring. So we've got Ross nicely in the lead there with 1 point ahead of Justin, Asadai keeping close, Rian and Joshua catching up. Released on April 5th, 1974, what was Stephen King's first published novel? So these are all Stephen King novels. Which was his first? It was Carrie. One of them I haven't read. So I can't tell you anything about Carrie because I know nothing about it. Which of these titles are actual books in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series? Check the chat while we answer that one. All of them, except for Babelfish, are books in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So obviously Hitchhiker's Guide is the first one. And I think then it's So Long and Thanks for the Fish, and then Mostly Harmless. And I think there's a fourth, and then it's another thing. Which of these books holds the record for being the most stolen book from public libraries? It's the Guinness Book of World Records, which I quite like the idea that in the Guinness Book of Records, it probably has itself as the most stolen book. It's very meta, that. Feels very much like a Christopher Nolan conspiracy. Which of these characters was in the Avengers in the Marvel comics, in the actual comic books? Who are these people? Which of these were in the Avengers? And the Avengers had many, many people in them. The only one out of that list they never had in their membership was Star-Lord. They've had Sabretooth, fake Aquaman, Venom, and Deadpool somehow at some point in the Avengers. Who created Spider-Man? It was the combination of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Bob Kane did Batman. I think Jerry Siegel and Joel Shuster did Superman. And if I'm wrong with that, somebody I'm sure will correct me. Which actors have played Superman in movies or TV? Everyone except for Christian Bale and Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage auditioned, and there are photos of him dressed as Superman. They are magnificent. Seek them out. It'll make your evening. Christian Bale also auditioned, but he ended up being Batman, which is kind of weird. Which of these are real comic book crossovers? Batman and Pac-Man, Archie Comics and The Punisher, Deadpool and Barack Obama, Mars Attacks and Popeye, Green Lantern, and Ryan Reynolds. It's Archie Comics and The Punisher and Mars Attacks and Popeye. The one I put in there that I wanted is Green Lantern and Ryan Reynolds. I want an actual Ryan Reynolds to talk to Green Lantern and just talk about their movie for like a whole comic book. I think it would be magnificent. Green Lantern is just one of the many different Lantern squads that exist in the DC universe. Which of these are real colors for Lantern squads? All of them except for the Golden Lantern Corps and the Brown Lantern Corps. There's the Ultraviolet, the Star Sapphire, and the Orange Lanterns. They all have different powers and use different energies, and I can't remember any of this anymore. What one does what? The death of Superman is famous for having Doomsday kill Superman, but it wasn't the first time Superman was killed. Who else killed Superman? Energy Superman, Zunel, and Count Crystal, all famous for having killed Superman. Batman and Lex Luthor have never managed to do it. Count Crystal, I believe, is the first one, and it was like a one-off thing and never spoken of again. But yeah, killing Superman, good way to sell comic books. And lastly, Scrooge McDuck is the richest person in the Donald Duck universe. Who else are members of Clan McDuck in the Donald Duck universe? It's Dewey, his nephew, Dowie O'Drake, which I have no idea who that is, and Molly Mallard, all from various incarnations of the Donald Duck universe. John D. Rockerduck and Flint Glomgold are his people. Well, also rich ducks in the universe, but not the richest, which he holds the title for. Right, so we've got the random Twitter one done. Oh no, wait, this is the next random Twitter one. So once again, if you have Twitter available, we want to say thank you to Intellect for sponsoring that 4K 28-inch gaming monitor tonight. And so the first person to tweet thank you to @Intellect, which is their Twitter handle, and include our Twitter handle @Developer User Group so we can pick it up, will be a prize winner for tonight. And check the chat. Nicolas Cage will play anything. That is correct. I think Joshua Lewis is bringing up Nemesis is someone who killed Superman, maybe? Could be. Superman's been killed more than once. It's very crazy to see how often he gets killed. So hopefully you've got that. Tweet thank you to Intellect. Oh, Joshua Lewis. Glomgold is the nemesis of Scrooge. That is correct, yes. He's his main rival at least in the TV show. Cool. Thank you so much. Right. Back to the questions. That brings the end of comics and books. We're going to move on to programming now because it's, we're a programming bunch. We like writing code. And I've tried to throw in some horribly nasty ones tonight. So we'll go along and see how they go. Which programming language is this? It's a program language called eWagon 2. I have no idea what it means. It prints Hello World to command line, obviously. But yeah, it's eWagon 2. These are all real programming languages, by the way. There's a fantastic site called the Esoteric Programming Language. And here is another one. What programming language is this? You might need to scroll to find your buttons. So yeah, and leading us at the moment, Ross, Rion, Justin, Asadai, and Marson. And that is a program language called The Square. And I believe that's also doing a Hello World. I try to make sure all of these printed Hello World when I went and dug through the Esoteric Programming Guide wiki. What programming language is this one? I love how it ends. Please give up. Please give up. I've asked my code that a lot of times. It's a language called Intercal. I'm guessing those numbers are like the character symbols, like this #22 is a space, right? So that's probably how it like prints out hello world. Which programming language is this? Start it, name it, code, rename it. Right click. I won't keep going through that, it's a lot. It's Technologic is the programming language name, and it's a name where all the words in it are based on Daft Punk lyrics. And now that I've said that, you can see it and hear it in your head, and I'm sorry for that. Or maybe I'm not. Daft Punk's not bad. What programming language is this? Print hello world. See, we're losing out on options every time. So all totally real ones. It is Noida, which I think is probably the most obvious, most nicely written one. But if you are interested, there are quite literally thousands of interesting programming languages available. Lots of people still making them all the time. Which of these languages did Anders Heilsberg help design? Seeing some people coming through there, yeah. Okay, good. He was the primary language designer for C#, TypeScript, and originally when he joined Microsoft, J++. He's famous for working at Borland on the Pascal compiler, but he didn't actually help create anything for the Pascal language. Which languages are listed as direct predecessors for Swift? So which languages did Apple steal the ideas from? It's everything except JavaScript, because nobody's stealing from JavaScript. But yeah, they stole from Rust and C# and Python and Objective-C. All direct predecessors for the Swift Apple language. I had to put, there's another Swift programming language on the esoteric one. It's a kind of common one. Of all of these programming languages, which is the oldest? Oldest. Yes, it's Lisp. Lisp outdates all of those. One of the weird things about writing this quiz is like, we did this last week and the week before, and it's like, I look at these questions now and go, I can't even remember the answers. So to the 22.2% got that, well done. Of the remaining 4, which of these programming languages is the oldest? So we've taken away Lisp. Which one is still the oldest? It's COBOL. Yeah. And still work available. So half of you got COBOL, that's great. We've got Ross in the lead, Rion following, Justin, Asadai, and Mayor. Looking fantastic there in the list. Get there. Right, removing COBOL, these 3 languages, which is the oldest now? C, Pascal, or Basic? It is Basic. Basic outdates all of them. By not a lot. These are all very much around about the same time, but Basic does predate them, which is kind of weird. I always thought C would have been older. And going back to Lisp, which of these are real versions or implementations of the Lisp language? InterLisp, Lisp.net, EULisp, MicroLisp, or Lisp 61? It's InterLisp and EULisp. The others are all completely made up. There is a Lisp 65, I think, which came out in 1965. So the trend of us not being able to name things with original names, like the developer user group, started a long time ago. This list contains big data, terms, and products, and Pokemon. Which of these are Pokemon? Delibird, Delibird and Spoink are Pokemon. Geode, Hackathon, and Flink are not. There, if you Google big data or Pokemon, there is a whole website you can play this game for hours on. It is a lot of fun. According to the Office End 2019 survey, what are the 2 most used programming language in South Africa? JavaScript and C#. Java is the third most, but JavaScript definitely number one used language in South Africa. Is it the number one enjoyed? Probably not, but it's definitely most used. According to that same survey, if you want to make the most money, which 3 languages should you use at a senior level? Go, Ruby, and Swift pay the most for senior developers. C# and Java, because there's so many of you, no money for you. So yeah, time to go learn some Go this holiday, maybe some Ruby. Computers use electricity or magnets to manipulate and store data. Which of these are also alternatives to, magnets and electricity? Right, and I'll bring us to the end of the programming section. The answers are quantum computing, obviously, DNA computing, where they actually encode stuff into the DNA, and billiard ball computing, which is exactly what you think it is. People rolling billiard balls around on tables to simulate being a computer, which is a crazy thought. Right, so we've done this random question. We are going to move on to the tech companies next. I'm just checking my hat is still glowing. I suddenly had this thought, maybe my hat wasn't flashing. And the next random question, somebody asked early on about this, post your best geek joke. Maybe it's a geek dad joke into the Zoom chat. You've got this till the end of the next round, or the end of this round to do that. Yeah, so if you have a good geek joke, post it in there. Give everyone a moment. And thankfully, I don't have to. My fantastic elves will be going through and looking at all the jokes and picking out one, because otherwise I'm going to end up spending the whole time reading them and not actually doing the quiz. But hopefully everyone has a good laugh at those. Give you another minute or two for that. You can also have a chance to read some of the jokes. But if you are trying to think of a good one, you've still got time during the questions as well to keep posting. Okay. Right, I need to switch our system over back to the quiz. All right, and we've got about 10 seconds before we start, so get your last jokes in there. Okay, on to tech companies. Which of these companies uses the slogan, move the way you want? It's Uber of all of them. Wow, a lot of people going for Lyft. But no, it's Uber. Yeah. Don't have anything that interesting to say on that. But let's get rid of Uber on that, and let's see who uses the slogan, belong anywhere. We replaced Uber with Samsung in this one. It's Airbnb. Their slogan is belong anywhere. Nobody thought it was Tesla or Lyft, though. Come on, that'd be a good Tesla one. Belong anywhere. You could be on the moon, on Mars, or in a tube under Vegas. Which of these companies have their headquarters in Seattle? There's definitely more than one. So this would be at least their either worldwide or US headquarters. So it's all of them except for SAP. SAP is a European company with their American headquarters on the other side of America as well. But Microsoft obviously is famous for that. Amazon as well. Expedia was a Microsoft company and split off. They have their headquarters still there as well. Which of these companies have more than 120,000 employees? At least according to Wikipedia. It's only Microsoft and Apple. Google is close to them. I think they're about 100,000, but Netflix and Tesla, tiny amounts, absolutely tiny amounts. Which of these companies was acquired by Apple using their infinite piles of money? It was a company called Spaces and a company called MapSense, both used to provide mapping technology, or MapSense used to provide mapping technology to Apple. And we all know how well Apple's maps work. So that was a really worthwhile purchase. Swift was not, obviously, it's made up language, it's their language. Which companies here make up the FANG algorithm, or the FANG acronym of companies? All of them except Microsoft. There's no M in that. Come on, 5% of you should have picked that one up. But yeah, so all of them are that it's Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. They're all sort of valley companies as well. Where did Microsoft start, i.e. the original city? Did it start in Redmond, Charlotte, or Albuquerque? Or did it start virtually on the start menu? It started in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they moved to Redmond, Washington, which is just outside of Seattle proper, in like the 70s for tax reasons, because they're all about getting money. Which university did Mark Zuckerberg attend? Well, at least Microsoft was all about, before Rory throws stuff at me for saying they're all only about money. He attended Harvard. Look at all of these smart people getting that right. You can all get into Harvard yourselves. The rest of us, I would have probably gone with MIT, but the rest of us, you know, we're okay. We'll be fine. Government education for the rest of us. Harvard for the 45% there. Famous video game company id Software was acquired by this company in 2009. Makers of things like Doom and Quake. I keep trying to remember what pieces of trivia I can give out that aren't questions coming up later on. They were acquired by ZeniMax in 2009, and ZeniMax was acquired by Microsoft this year. And yes, to Rory's point, they're also about Xbox gaming, because you can now play all the id games on Xbox with Game Pass. Which of these tech companies are not from the USA? SAP, Spotify, Apple, Rovio, and Accenture. Oh, I gave the SAP one away earlier, but Spotify, Rovio, and Accenture, all not American. Rovio famous, obviously, for Angry Birds, the game you haven't thought about in 5 years. And nobody picked Apple. Everyone knows Apple is an American company. Awesome. PayPal founders went on to some interesting companies. Which of these companies were started by people who founded PayPal? Tesla, Quibi, and Palantir. Spotify and Flow weren't. Palantir is a big data company, maybe a little bit dodgy. We're not sure yet. They don't talk enough. And Quibi is the massively failed media platform. So it doesn't seem like lightning strikes twice there. Steve Jobs helped founded these companies, or was a principal investor in these companies. It's Apple and Next. He was on the board of Pixar, and this is why, if you watch Pixar films, there are a lot of Apple products and Apple logos. My favorite is there's an Apple truck in the background of Cars for reasons. Which of these tech people are worth more than $25 billion? Yeah, worth more than $25 billion, more than I will ever hope to have. It's only Jeff Bezos and Jack Ma. Elon Musk is not worth 25 billion. He keeps spending all his money on rockets, obviously. Eric Schmidt, not so much. And Gordon Moore, who is famous from IBM, from Intel, definitely not as much. Which of these are the oldest tech companies? Gordon Moore, by the way, is really rich, but just not 25 billion rich. Nokia predates all of them by a long way, like hundreds of years. Massively the oldest of those tech companies. And removing Nokia and popping in Ericsson in their place Which of these is the oldest of the tech companies? It's Ericsson. IBM's not old enough. No, IBM, well, I think they're like 100 years or something like that, close to 100 years. These other companies massively predate them. Right. So that brings us to the end of that section. Josh has posted in there that the joke submissions are closed. Ooh. Tesla wasn't founded by Elon. So you might be onto something. I'll have to check that. I don't know what I can't award bonus points, but if it isn't, that means maybe we had some mix up on the points there. Could be. Right. Let's switch back here onto our last random prize. And the way this will work is we're going to randomly draw one person's name. So you don't even have to do anything for this prize. You just have to relax, have something to drink, get relaxed and ready for the last 25 general knowledge section. And I'll bring us to the end of the quiz for tonight. After that, and so my Bazinga, Josh, you got to tweet Bazinga. If you're only mentioning it now, it's too late. So our L's will dig through that and pick a winner and send it to me on the separate channel. And then we'll kick off. All right, so your pictures should definitely be uploaded by now. Your photos should be uploaded. Stack Overflow points, all that should already be done. So yeah, let's get into the last 25 questions. And if you thought the first 90 were rough, the last 25 come about because I kept finding them while working, and I couldn't come up with one. I couldn't find a good section. So these are the 25 hardest ones. Mic is a bit loud sometimes. I will move it down a little bit. Hopefully it's not too bad. And make sure it's not bumping into anything. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better. Cool. All right, well, let's jump along to the final questions. How many atoms are there in a water molecule? Because I wanted physics questions in a quiz. We had geography and history. Let's put some physics in. It's 3. It's H2O, right? That's how that works. I can do science. I can't do science. I have no idea if 3 atoms is H2O. Is it a coincidence or accurate? But, you know, this is why I can't win these competitions. I just run them. Additive manufacturing at home is also known as box forts, balancing your budget, layer cake, 3D printing, or Lego. It's 3D printing. It is also known as additive manufacturing because it prints layers up and down. It prints a layer and adds another layer and a layer, and so on. And it's a great lot of fun if you'd like to be fiddling with trying to get things balanced for hours on end. Pythagoras' prime is which of these numbers? It's the first one. And it's the only prime to date that's found that's a palindrome. So it reads the same forwards and backwards. And I absolutely love palindromes, which is when I stumbled across this one, I had to put it in. So that's Pythagoras' prime number. I'm going to give you a second to read that at the top there, because it is a crazy maths one. Fred brings home 100 kilograms of potatoes. And they are mathematical potatoes, not real potatoes. And they have 99% water in them. He leaves them outside overnight, so that they now have 98% water in them. What is their new weight? $50 kilograms. I don't know how. Maths is how. I think it's like, well, it's just half the weight or something gets removed down. Something like that. Right, Manhattan Henge happens twice a year. What is Manhattan Henge? A trans party, Stonehenge is wrapped to look like buildings, a theme park in New York. It's where the sun aligns with Manhattan street grid. So you can take photos of the sun perfectly aligned with the streets. And lots of people go and stand in the middle of the street and almost get hit by taxis in New York City every year, twice a year on that day for their Instagrams. Which of these are real date time problems for computers? The year 2000 problem, the 2020, the 2038, the 5000, and the 10,000. Obviously, the year 2000 problem, the year 2038 problem, and the year 10,000 problem are both real ones. The 10,001 is for computers that can't process years more than 4 digits. And the 2038 one is for when we roll over from epoch on integers. RAS syndrome is a term, means what? A term for the misunderstanding about British fighter plane damage. Redundant acronym syndrome? Nothing, I made it up. I like how 15% of you think it's, I made this up. No, it's redundant acronym syndrome. It's where you have an acronym followed by the last word in the acronym. RAS syndrome, the S is syndrome. PIN number is another good example of a RAS syndrome. You don't need to say number. Famous footballers, Phil and Gary Neville. What was famous footballer Phil and Gary Neville's father's name? For soccer fans, obviously. It was Neville. And that's, I think, fantastic. His father's name was Neville. couldn't imagine naming my kid McLean, but I might do now, since it seems to be okay. 364.4 smoots is the length of what? The length of the Harvard Bridge. Smoots was somebody at Harvard, is a student there. They lay him down and measured the bridge based with him and came up to 364.4 smoots. For some reason, that was a thing. And now it's a measurement. The cosmic latte is the best coffee you can get when you put CBD oil in your coffee. The correct name for beige, Pantone 156, or the average color of the universe. Pantone 156 being a color choice. Oh, look at that. Hey, Reed. Look at that majority smartness there. It's the average color of the universe. If you take the whole universe, all the dark parts, all the light parts, and you average it all out, you get cosmic latte. Rapunzel syndrome is when, really it's not real this time, it's when your hair grows after your death, love of fairy tales, a feature on a Lexus car, when a child forms a hairball from eating their own hair. It is the last one. Kids eat their own hair and then it makes a hairball. It's disgusting. It's not fun. Ripley's Believe It or Not, though, their museum have the largest hairball ever taken out of a child. And so if you ever need a reason not to go there, there you go. IPTH14HLS is what of these? My Google password, my Gmail password is my favorite option there. A star that keeps exploding. So it's exploded like 6 times over the last 20 years, and nobody knows why. It just keeps blowing up. Normally they don't blow up and come back together, but this one seems to keep doing that. To 3% of people who are trying to get on my Gmail now, I'm sorry. Mary Toft convinced doctors that she gave birth to what? Rabbits, chicken, eggs, frogs, a baby who glowed, or a book? She convinced doctors she gave birth to rabbits. Both live and not live rabbits. Doctors were absolutely convinced, and she was only stopped after they took her to the Queen of England. What? How did that happen? You have to ask yourself. How long do, whatever that word is, live for? 4 days, 4 months, years, 40 years, 400 years. It's a type of bacteria. They live for a mere 4 days. I have nothing interesting to say about bacteria. They're small and I can't see them. So they're, you know, what can you say about something small and you can't see? These are all famous animals, except one of them isn't. Select the real 4 famous animals in here. Harambe, rest in peace, Philippa the dolphin, Oscar the cat, Hoover the talking seal, and Henry the hexapus. The only one that's not real there is Philippa the dolphin. All the rest are. Henry the hexapus is a 6-legged octopus. Oscar the cat is some sort of internet star. Hoover the talking seal, I don't think actually talks. 4 of these are real biological names. 1 is a fake. Select the 4 correct ones. Take a break there while that comes up. The 4 correct things there, for real biological things are Sonic the Hedgehog, Harry Plax, named after Harry Potter, Bill Gates' flower fly, and goldenpalace.com monkey, where somebody won a competition to name it, and the company was called Golden Palace. Goldblum Rose, named after Jeff Goldblum, only exists in my imagination. So we've got 9 questions to go. Ross is in the lead, 350. Rion catching up. Justin also close behind, all within a chance of getting this. Joshua definitely also got a chance in there. Asadai probably just on the edge if you really try, and Ross really messes it up. So definitely some people in the chance there to be in the top. So 9 questions to go. We'll start getting a little slower and having a look at the points as we go after each question, just to ramp up the tension of the evening. I think, if I remember right, Sonic Hedgehog is actually a hedgehog as well, or a type of hedgehog, or a type of bug or something. Ooh, here's another long one. One red paperclip was a website where Kyle McDonald started with a red paperclip and traded it 14 times, and he ended getting a 2-story farmhouse in Sachakowian. Which of these are real trades he made? So, yep, somebody traded for these things, kept trading throughout. Yeah, so he traded his paperclip initially for a fish-shaped pen was the first one. Later on, he traded it, whatever he had at that stage, for a snowmobile, which he then traded for lunch with Alice Cooper, the musician, and eventually was able to get a 2-story farmhouse. He never had to pay for anything. So Ross getting a single point there, good for Ross. Justin catching, Rion catching, Josh catching. Asadai not moving up fast enough, I don't feel there. But we are getting close to the end now. Only a few more questions left. Catherine the Great, Judy Garland, Lenny Bruce, well, I'll pause it there to make sure we read it, and George II of Great Britain all died in the same place. Where did they die? Was it Windsor Castle, Buckingham Palace, the White House, the toilet, or on an airplane? It was on the toilet. So they all died on the toilet. The other famous one here was obviously Elvis, but I felt that might be giving it away. And so Ross pulling another 5 points, but Rion, Justin massively close now. Josh catching nicely, getting really tight here at the end of the quiz. Hopefully, see how it goes. Which company made the Ilu? A real product, exactly what you think it is. No one got this. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine, Rian, Justin, Josh, if you'd got this? Oh, it would have helped you catch up. It was made by Microsoft in the 90s. And it was an internet-enabled porta toilet for concerts. And so they made it, and they then got a lot of backlash in the press and never released it. Which of these were real methods of transport? The Paternoster lift, Boaty McBoatface, the Octocycle, the Peel 50, and the aerial Proton. All of these true things. Paternoster lift, nothing to do with the town of Paternoster in the Western Cape, is a lift that never stops moving. So when it's going up, you stand on the roof, you stand on the floor, and when it comes back down, it's upside down, you stand on the roof. Boaty McBoatface, the famous boat that was named by the British Republic. The P50, the smallest road car ever made. It is absolutely tiny. It doesn't even come with reverse. It has a handle in the back that you can pull it because it's so small. And the other two are made up ones. The aerial Proton, a play on the aerial Atom. Ooh, Ross getting some big points there. Rion looks like stalled a little. Justin catching. Josh close. Asagai, is the late ditch chase coming? We can hope so. 5 questions left. Caesar's Road is a film costing $1.2 million to make and is the lowest grossing film in US history. How much did it make at the box office? $330, $300, $3,000, or $30,000? It made $30. It actually made slightly more, but the film director actually refunded some people who went to the movie by mistake. It was made for an international audience and had to be shown in a cinema for X number of days. So they showed it in a cinema like twice or something to meet the requirements. Japan has gone all in with Kit Kats, and has over 300 flavors. Which of these are real Kit Kat flavors? All of them are real, except for the cream spinach. You can get a caramel mustachio McFlurry flavor, Copdra flavor, baked potato flavor, and soy sauce flavor. Oh, Ross looking strong there coming into the last 3 questions. Justin, Rion, is your last chance now to catch up, really. Let's see how we go. You know McDonald's is the, let me pause this to get this out. You know McDonald's value is from owning property, not burgers. And Lego is the world's #1 tire manufacturer. But Volkswagen has produced the most of what parts? Gearboxes for the Golf, sausages, tomato sauce, rubber washers, or light bulbs. It's sausages. Volkswagen produces more sausages in the world than anyone else. They're also the leading producer of tomato sauce, but they produce more sausages because it's a whole thing in Germany to buy Volkswagen sausages. Ross getting away now from everyone else. I think it's almost in the bag, maybe playing for second place between Justin and Rion here. Which of these are real phobias? Those 2 are real phobias. The rest aren't. I have no idea. I can't remember what either of those phobias were. If you have an idea, feel free to put it in the chat. And we're going to the last question. I think Ross has got this in the bag. Justin, Rion, Josh as well right there. You can all play for second and third place. It's all up to the final question, really. Right, our last question of the evening. The Rex in Tyrannosaurus Rex means king. It's true. It means king. And there we go. That brings us to the end. Ross getting over 400 points. Wow, that is amazing. Well done. That is absolutely fantastic. There is you should have on your screen all the winners, all the prizes. Great to see so many names I recognize. Josh, I'm sorry you don't carry on your never-ending reign of prizes. But well done to everyone else on there. Right, so let's switch back to slides. Okay, to Ross, Rion, Justin, you will have gotten a secret code word on your screen. Please drop us an email. You've also got our email address with that secret code word, and we will arrange your prizes to you. But now we need to do the prizes for everyone else. So I have got to scroll quickly through here and try and figure this out. Give me 1 second. I should have some like fancy music playing here. There we go. Right. So naturally, well, let's start the way we went. So the best drawing prize goes to Marcin for their drawing. I can't see it. I'm guessing there was a picture posted on our chat, in our private chat. It looked fantastic, I think. But yeah, so Marcin will get a prize for the best drawing. In terms of the best battle station, the place where you like to work, it goes to Impo. Then the most Stack Overflow points goes to Neil Devet. And I'm very happy to say that the fastest Bazinga on Twitter goes to Joshua Lewis. I think he said Bazinga 47 times in the chat as well. So totally well deserved for that. The first thank you tweet to Intellect goes to Jared van der Heervel. The best joke goes to Ryan Lowe. Now, I have the chat here. Let's have a look. If I can find his chat, his question. Where was Elon's? Oh, I missed out so many of these great comments. Where was Elon's son's name? That is a great question. If you don't know, he's named his son with his rock star girlfriend Grimes. They've named their son. It's like it looks like somebody's password has been typed in. The real funny part was somebody asked him the other day about it and actually used the full name, and he had no idea what they were talking about. So yeah, let's have a look. Real low. Oh, it's it's a good joke. You have to find it in the chat. It's a very visual joke, but it's the words hip hip in an array. We definitely are very geeky people here, aren't we? So yeah, awesome. Thank you, Josh, for posting it there again. I will post it back. I'm going to post it back in there. That'll make me look very smart as well. So I got a little private message there with that's what the joke is in the chat there. So we've got the best joke. And then our random drawing prize is Sianda. Just Sianda on Zoom. If I did call out your name, please, like, one of us should be in touch with you on Zoom. If not, feel free to private message me on Zoom, and we will make sure you get your prizes. So with that, I haven't told people what their prizes are. I am very bad at my job. Let's do this. Go all the way back up here. Because obviously our first prize to Ross, the 4K 28-inch monitor. Rian will get the Parrot AR drone, and Justin, with missing out by 1 point there, will get the Connect projector. In terms of let's see, Sianda for the random draw will get the Xiaomi Mi TV box. The best joke to Joshua will be the best joke to Ryan is the Chromecast. Let's see, the next one on my list, the most Stack Overflow points, which was to Neil, is the Raspberry Pi. The best drawing prize, which goes to Marcin, is for the Sennheiser headphones. The first to tweet, so the Bazinga, that goes to Joshua Lewis, obviously, because he is so fast with Bazinga. He gets the Cooler Master keyboard. The best battle station picture, which will go to Impo, is the AlphaBot DIY robot kit. And the thank you Intellect one will get, which I just closed my phone to see. Thank you Intellect one, which goes to Jared, will get the JBL Flip speaker. Excellent. So if I move my slides a little bit more forward, that brings us to the end of this evening. Thank you, everyone, for spending the last 90 minutes with me, making small talk and being silly. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your season, festive season. And yeah, stay safe. We'll be back next month in January with our regular sessions. If you'd like to speak at the user group, let us know. And yeah, we'll be on the chat for a little bit. Otherwise, have a great evening. If you did win a prize, feel free to send me a private message on here. I will try to find everyone who's still here, message as well. Otherwise, yeah, let us have a great evening. Thank you so much to all my elves. I didn't actually say thank you to all at the end. I really appreciate all the hard work. Evolve, Josh, Joshua, Maria, and Nati. Really appreciate it. Good to see some of the other leads jump in here. Ezra, good to see you there. Really appreciate it. I think the only person who's still on the chat, who was on the chat, at least double check, is Neil DeVet. Is the only one I haven't got an email address. I don't know if everybody else has got their emails or not. Otherwise, we'll have to just chase him up on WhatsApp or on Meetup.
Just like Robert. You're a legend, man.
Let's see, I'm gonna turn my camera back on just to like this hat does nothing for hair. Never wear a hat is really, look at this. It's all over the place.
Funny, I can wear hats. It's fine.
Fair enough. You can. You totally can. But yeah.
Dude, awesome.
I'm tired and it's way too hot and I need to go drink a beer now.
I think you deserve it.
Only downside to these events, eh? Like we used to go out for dinner afterwards.
Yes.
Not so much. But yeah. It helps that I've run I've obviously not virtually, but I've run the in-person event a bunch. I thought 10 seconds would be too long. 10 seconds was not long enough, really, for all those questions. Good learning exercise. Good learnings. Next time, give a bit more time.
I think it went awesome.
Yeah, and we're out by 8, which is perfect. Didn't overstay our welcome. Exactly what you need.
Yes. Yeah, no, just long enough to keep it interesting.
Yeah. I feel like we had great input from everyone.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, you look hilarious with that thing on your face.
I added more. Don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, I can see you've done all kinds of lovely colors now. You really are dressing to the nines.
You've got like a Colonel Sanders look going there.
No, I thought I would mimic what Robert has going, but I don't think it works.
Oh, all right. I think I'm going to drop off. I will do some emails and stuff later with the emails I've got. I also grabbed a copy of the chat we can dig through in case you want email anything in particular out of it. But yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome job, man.
Okay, cool. Cheers, everyone.
Have a great one. Chat you all later. Bye.
Cool. Bye, everyone.